boy excitedly opened his Christmas present, but in the next second, he became extremely angry. He immediately knelt down in the deep snow, vowing to take out Santa Claus. It turned out that on Christmas Day, while other kids received their desired gifts, Nick only got a lump of coal. The more Nick thought about it, the angrier he became. He promptly called up the hitman Rudy and paid a high price for Santa's life. However, Nick had no idea that Rudy also harbored a deep hatred for Santa Claus. Growing up, Rudy had written countless wish lists but never received the presents he wanted. Upon receiving the assignment, Rudy accepted it without hesitation. The problem was, Santa Claus was nowhere to be found, and Rudy had no clue about his exact whereabouts. Even after calling many people, Rudy couldn't get any leads. The only information he had was that the gifts were always delivered by the post office. Left with no choice, Rudy had to take a risk. He used his big black piece to threaten the post office staff for Santa's address. The workers reluctantly wrote it down. With the address in hand, Rudy immediately went home to pack his gear and set out on his mission to find Santa Claus. However, when Rudy finally locked onto his target, he was utterly shocked. Santa Claus turned out to be just an ordinary old man. But at this point, Rudy couldn't worry about that. He raised his weapon, ready to end Santa's life. But at the critical moment, a truck blocked his line of sight. In that brief 2-second window, the old man had already gotten into his vehicle. With no other option, Rudy had to follow behind in his own car. But Rudy never expected that the Santa Claus he was supposed to kill would drive straight into a military base. Although there were patrolling soldiers around the perimeter, Rudy didn't back down. Rudy returned to retrieve his equipment, deciding to abandon a frontal assault. He snuck around to the poorly guarded back of the mountain and quickly took out the distracted guards. Then, he swiftly entered the warehouse and secretly planted explosive charges, intending to destroy Santa Claus and the factory together. Rudy hid behind his car, and with a loud bang, the warehouse was blown to smithereens. Rudy initially thought the assassination was a success, but as he turned around, he caught sight of Santa Claus. The two quickly drew their guns and opened fire. After a brief shootout, both were injured. When they ran out of bullets, they engaged in close combat. After a fierce fight, Rudy finally took out Santa Claus.